Hey folks, the entire conceit of this video is, can I power my Atomos Ninja Inferno with my Moza Air 2 gimbal? The Moza Air 2 has a 16.8 volt output up here next to the camera output, so if I rig up the camera right, I run a good length cable, I should be able to power the Atomos Ninja Inferno, which has a max power input level of 16.8 volts, off of the Moza Air 2. So can I do it? Let's find out. The only problems I can foresee happening here is maybe I'm going to eat through battery life on the Moza. They're not exactly huge lithium batteries in there when I compare it to, say, the V-mount power that I would usually power my Atomos off of when I use it in kind of a run and gun shoulder configuration or on the tripod, or a DC AC input that I would usually use like I am right now. Changing the batteries out in the Moza while it's still rigged up is not that big of a deal. I can leave it on the tripod like this. I can get some extra batteries, keep those charged up at all times, and I can go ahead and run it that way. So I'm not that worried about that being the problem. I don't want to put the Sony NPF batteries on this thing and have that additional weight and something extra to carry around with me. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to run this all off of one little setup here. Now, as far as powering the camera is concerned, I'm not worried about plugging my camera into this setup and running it off of this. I'm running the Panasonic Lumix GH5. I've got my Nikon D5000 on here just for display at the moment. This has the nice, with the Moza Air 2, we have the nice quick release plate setup, so I can swap out batteries in the GH5 pretty easily. I'm fine with that. I just don't want to carry Sony NPF batteries. I don't like using them. One of the two ports on my Ninja Inferno is broken. I sent this thing in because of a cracked screen to Atomos, and suddenly one of my battery ports didn't work and they wanted to charge me to fix it. Wouldn't fix it under warranty. I'm pretty pissed off at them about that because I didn't break that port. I just cracked the screen. But I digress. Now, I thought this would be a pretty easy thing to figure out. I'd just Google search it and I'd find all kinds of people doing it, but I really haven't to this point. So I'm gonna have to figure out if I can do this for myself. I'm gonna make myself an extension cable to go ahead and go from that 16.8 volt port down to where I'm gonna rig up my Atomos Ninja Inferno. So let's just get right into it. Now, I got a pack of these pigtails. These are 2.1 millimeter barrel type DC connectors. That is what both the Atomos Ninja Inferno uses, as well as the output port on the 16.8 volt output from the Moza Air 2. So I'm going to use these to make a custom length cable, but I'm going to throw a link in the description down below to pre-made extension cables with male connections on both ends. So if you want to do this for yourself, you could. Now, really at the moment, I'm just doing a mock-up to confirm that this will work the way I want it to, at least in lengths of wires, and get that right before I cut things and start soldering this all together. Solder time. So I'm making my own cable here. I didn't want to get one that's extra long and coil up the excess or anything like that. I wanted to make it exactly how I wanted, which, you know, your mileage may vary on what you want. I threw links in the description down below to pre-made wires. I went ahead and soldered up and heat shrunk my own cable. So I've got my extension cable produced. I've got my 16.8 volt plug up here, and I've got my Atomos Ninja Inferno. I'm gonna go ahead and make my connections and turn on the gimbal. Plugged into the gimbal, time to turn it on. Gimbal is on. Now let's see if the Ninja Inferno powers on. Boom, it's powered up. I think maybe a few bongo ties or something around the arms of the gimbal to keep this cable out of the way, but still have plenty of slack for movement. And I'm gonna have a setup where I don't have to have NPF batteries on my Ninja Inferno. I don't have to have V-mount batteries or anything like that. I can all power off of this one setup. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get tests with this thing and see what I can do. I've also got an HDMI cable, a high flexibility one that I really wanna test out and see if I can get 4K 60 FPS 10-bit out of that cable. So this is just a day of gimbal fun for me. Let's go ahead and check it out. So here's the rig setup as it stands. This is a 3/8 threaded port. I put a 3/8 to 1/4 inch bushing in there, and I put this Moza Magic Arm on there. This thing is not strong enough for the Ninja Inferno. It's more meant for like a Ninja 5 or a monitor, not monitor recorder setup. So I rigged up my Moza Air 2 with my Ninja Atomos Inferno attached to it, running off of the internal battery. I had a thin cable that I'll be testing in another video, and went out and I shot some footage with the thing, testing it out to see how well it worked. Long story short, not well at all. Power was never a problem until it ran out. The thing is that the 4 lithium batteries in the Moza Air 2, I kind of thought this might be the case, but they did not last nearly as long as I hoped they could. You know, they rate the Moza Air 2 at about 16 hours of runtime. So I took the thing out and I ran the Ninja Inferno running in both standby mode and recording, mostly recording. I just had it running continuously because I was trying to test out an HDMI cable and make sure I wasn't dropping signal while using it. And I got about 25 to 30 minutes of runtime out of the gimbal and the Ninja Inferno running together. I'm really disappointed by that. I'm thinking my best bet is probably gonna be to get like a belt clip for V-mount battery, clip on that and run a longer cable to the monitor and power my monitor that way. So then I don't have the weight of even an NPF battery on my arm, and I'll get a good long runtime out of the Ninja Inferno, unlike an NPF battery would give me, because the aftermarket NPF batteries I have, since I only have one active battery slot on that Ninja Inferno, I get like 25 to 30 minutes of runtime out of it. The question I set out to answer, can the Moza Air 2 supply power to the Atomos Ninja Inferno? Yes, but not for very long. At the end of the day, I thought about just throwing this footage out and saying, well, that was a failure of a project, but you know what? It wasn't. I proved what I was set out to prove. You can power a monitor recorder off of the Moza Air 2's power output. You just probably shouldn't do it. Maybe if you have something like a 5-inch Feel World monitor where it's just a monitor, maybe it would actually run a little while longer. I don't know what kind of power they require as far as input voltage or power consumption that they have. I have no idea about any of that, and I don't really care. I have the Atomos Ninja Inferno, so this is what I'm running with, and it will not work for me. All right, folks, I hope you come back for that HDMI cable video, and drop the video a like if you found it interesting. Comment whatever you're thinking. You gonna try powering your monitor off of your gimbal? Let me know what you are thinking in the comments down below. Subscribe to keep up to date with all the content that I create here, camera gear, tech stuff, vlogs, random things that I create. Go ahead and get subscribed to keep up to date with it, and I'll see you next time.